First contact and invasion. The sky turned copper at noon on a Wednesday. Commander Sarah Blackwood stood on the deck of the U.S. Resilient, watching the atmospheric disturbance ripple across the Pacific horizon. 23 years in the Navy had taught her to trust her instincts, and every fiber of her being screamed that this was wrong. Fundamentally, catastrophically wrong. "Satellite feeds gone dark, Commander," her communications officer called out. All of them. Simultaneously. Before Blackwood could respond, the ship's electronics failed. Screens flickered and died. Navigation systems went offline. Even battery-powered equipment sputtered into silence. "Manual stations," she ordered, her voice steady despite the dread rising in her chest. "Full stop. Emergency protocols." High above Earth's atmosphere, the Varangian Dominion's advance fleet emerged from fold space. 12 massive warships, each a kilometer long, arranged in perfect formation. Their hulls were biomechanical, covered in patterns that seemed to shift and pulse with internal energy. Within the command deck of the flagship, Fleet Commander Vexar studied the blue-green planet with 6 cold, calculating eyes. "Preliminary scans complete," reported his second-in-command. "The planet exceeds projections. Class 5 resource world. Exceptional water reserves, abundant rare minerals, significant biosphere diversity. Indigenous sentient species," Vexar inquired, mandibles clicking softly. "Affirmative. Pre-stellar civilization. Limited space presence. Primitive nuclear capabilities. High population density concentrated in urban centers." Vexar's exoskeleton shimmered with satisfaction. The Dominion needed this world, needed its resources to fuel their interstellar war against the Collective. Their last 3 conquest attempts had failed. This one could not. "Initiate standard contact protocol," he ordered. "Then prepare the harvesters." Dr. Elena Kaminsky was monitoring atmospheric data at the Princeton Climate Research Center when every screen in the facility began broadcasting the same image: a towering insectoid being with multiple limbs and a carapace that gleamed like polished obsidian. "People of Earth," the creature spoke, its voice translated into flawless English through some unknown means. "I am Fleet Commander Vexar of the Varangian Dominion. Your world has been selected for resource extraction and integration into our territory. Resistance is futile and inadvisable. Your technology cannot harm us. Your militaries cannot stop us. Surrender now, and a portion of your species will be preserved in designated conservation zones." The message, repeated in every language on Earth, transmitted simultaneously through every electronic device. Global panic erupted within minutes. Stock markets collapsed. Religious fervor exploded. Military forces worldwide scrambled to defensive positions. At the United Nations emergency session, delegates argued bitterly over the appropriate response: submit and survive, fight and likely perish. While they debated, Vexar made the decision for them. The first attack came precisely 3 hours after the initial broadcast. Varangian harvest ships, sleek, dart-shaped vessels, descended upon major cities worldwide. They deployed devices that altered local gravitational fields, causing infrastructure to collapse in on itself. Buildings, bridges, and roadways imploded with terrifying efficiency. Millions died in the first wave alone. Conventional military responses proved ineffective. Fighter jets exploded before they could approach the alien ships. Missile systems failed upon launch. Nuclear weapons remained in their silos, somehow rendered inert. In Washington, D.C., Pentagon officials watched in horror as cities were systematically dismantled. General Marcus Chen slammed his fist on the conference table. "There must be something these bastards are vulnerable to," he growled. "Nothing is invincible." Dr. Rajiv Kapoor, a quantum physicist who had been hastily brought into the emergency response team, studied the incoming data with growing interest. Their technology appears to manipulate fundamental forces: gravity, electromagnetic fields, possibly even strong and weak nuclear forces, he observed. But there's something unusual about their energy signatures. They spike periodically, like they're pulsing. What does that tell us? Demanded Chen. It might indicate they're using some form of resonance technology, Kapoor replied. Systems that require precisely calibrated frequencies to function. If that's the case, disrupting those frequencies could potentially disable their tech. It was a slim hope, but it was something. As metropolitan areas worldwide continued to fall, surviving military and scientific personnel retreated to hardened facilities, isolated research stations, and underwater installations, anywhere the aliens seemed less interested in targeting immediately. Commander Blackwood's U.S. Resilient had found refuge in a deep oceanic trench. Her crew had discovered that water, particularly deep water with its pressure and natural electromagnetic properties, seemed to interfere with the aliens' detection systems. Using jury-rigged communications equipment, they established contact with other survivors. A pattern emerged. The Varangians avoided certain areas, regions with unusual electromagnetic properties, locations near the magnetic poles, zones with high natural radiation. Their ships maintained specific distances from one another, suggesting some operational constraint. Across the globe, pockets of resistance began connecting these dots. In an underground facility beneath the Urals, Russian scientists noted energy fluctuations in the alien vessels that corresponded with Earth's geomagnetic field variations. In a bunkered lab in New Zealand, engineers discovered that certain frequencies caused retrieved alien technology to malfunction. 6 weeks into the invasion, with 30% of Earth's population dead or missing, and the aliens systematically stripping entire regions of resources, humanity's remnants formulated a desperate plan. Project Resonance, Dr. Kaminsky explained, addressing the holographic gathering of military and scientific leaders from hidden locations worldwide. We believe the Varangians use quantum resonance fields to maintain their technology's integrity. Essentially, they're keeping their exotic matter stable through continuous frequency manipulation. And you think we can disrupt this? Asked General Chen. We know we can, Blackwood interjected. Small-scale tests have proven successful. The challenge is creating a disruption powerful enough to affect their entire fleet simultaneously before they can adapt. The plan was audacious, bordering on suicidal. Earth's remaining functional power plants, along with hastily constructed field generators at key locations along the planet's geomagnetic lines, would be synchronized to produce a precisely calibrated pulse, essentially turning Earth itself into a massive resonance weapon. The pulse will likely destroy most of our remaining electronics, Dr. Kapoor warned, and we'll only get one chance. If it fails, we won't have the resources to try again. What choice do we have? Blackwood replied, her expression grim. It's this or extinction. As Earth's survivors prepared their counterattack, the Varangians continued their methodical harvest, oblivious to the desperation brewing beneath them. In his command ship, Vexar received concerning reports about minor equipment failures near certain Earth locations, but dismissed them as inconsequential. After all, the Dominion had conquered 17 worlds more advanced than this one. What was one more primitive planet against the might of Varangian technology? He would soon learn exactly what Earth was capable of. Rebellion and retaliation. The remnants of humanity worked with relentless determination. What the Varangians had failed to understand was Earth's greatest resource, the indomitable human spirit when faced with extinction. In hidden facilities worldwide, scientists and engineers labored day and night to construct the resonance disruptors. Former enemies became allies overnight. Chinese technicians collaborating with American physicists, Russian military personnel protecting Iranian nuclear engineers. The Varangians had given humanity a common enemy, and in doing so, had inadvertently united a fractured species. Commander Blackwood's submarine had become a crucial mobile command center, coordinating between resistance outposts using modified sonar communications that the aliens couldn't detect. The U.S. Resilient traveled between underwater installations, delivering crucial components and personnel. We're approaching 90% readiness, reported Dr. Kaminsky over their secure channel. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, but her voice remained steady. Australia, Japan, and South Africa sectors are online. Europe should be ready within 18 hours. And the main pulse generator? Blackwood asked. Dr. Kapoor completed final calibrations yesterday. It's ready for deployment at Mariana Base. The Mariana Trench facility had been chosen as the master control center for Project Resonance. Its extreme depth provided maximum protection from Varangian detection. From there, they would synchronize the global network of disruptors to produce the electromagnetic pulse that might save humanity. But the Varangians weren't idle. Through systematic analysis of remaining resistance pockets, Fleet Commander Vexar had begun to recognize patterns in human activity. Something was happening beneath the oceans, in remote mountain ranges, near the planet's magnetic poles. Increased surveillance of anomalous zones, he ordered his tactical officers. Deploy deep-sea probes to investigate underwater signatures. Whatever the humans are planning, find it and eliminate it. The first major setback came when Varangian forces located and destroyed the resonance facility hidden in the Canadian Shield. 37 scientists and technicians died in the attack, along with crucial equipment that had taken weeks to assemble. We need to accelerate the timeline, General Chen urged during an emergency council meeting. They're getting closer to discovering the full network. Blackwood agreed, despite the risks of launching before all systems were optimal. We deploy in 36 hours. All stations prepare for final countdown. The Varangians struck again before they could implement this plan. Specialized hunter-killer drones infiltrated the Himalayan facility, killing everyone inside and destroying the Eastern Synchronization Hub. Hours later, biomechanical burrowers detected and eliminated the European Control Center beneath the Alps. They're picking us off systematically, Dr. Kapoor observed grimly. Someone must be feeding them information. The horrifying truth emerged after a desperate analysis of attack patterns. The Varangians weren't receiving human intelligence. They were tracking the unique energy signatures of the resonance technology itself. The very weapon designed to defeat them was leading them straight to every resistance stronghold. In the depths of the Mariana facility, humanity's leadership faced an impossible choice: abandon Project Resonance or find a way to mask its energy signature long enough to launch a coordinated attack. Dr. Kaminsky proposed a radical solution. We create decoys, hundreds of them. Small, portable devices generating the same energy signature as our actual facilities. We scatter them across the planet, creating so much noise that the Varangians can't distinguish between real installations and false ones. Can we build that many decoys in time? Chen asked. We don't build them, Blackwood interjected. We recruit them. Every surviving military unit, every resistance cell, every isolated community. We give them the specifications to create rudimentary resonance signatures. The plan was implemented with astonishing speed. Using the remaining global communication channels, the resistance transmitted design specifications for simple devices that could generate resonance fields. Communities worldwide constructed these decoys from available materials, everything from repurposed microwave components to salvaged medical equipment. Within days, thousands of decoy signatures bloomed across the planet. Varangian forces, detecting this sudden proliferation of energy patterns matching the installations they'd previously destroyed, found themselves overwhelmed with targets. Impossible, Vexar muttered, studying the global sensor display showing countless resonance signatures. They cannot have constructed so many facilities so quickly. His tacticians recommended systematic elimination of all signatures, but there were simply too many. As Varangian forces scattered to investigate and destroy these apparent threats, humanity seized its opportunity. All primary stations, final status report, Blackwood commanded from the bridge of the U.S. Resilient, now positioned directly beneath the master control facility. Australian node, ready, came the response. Antarctic station, operational. Mid-Atlantic Ridge facility, standing by. One by one, the 7 remaining true resonance generators reported readiness. While the Varangians chased decoys, the actual network prepared to fire. Dr. Kapoor made the final adjustments to the master sequence. "The calibration is perfect," he announced. "But Commander, you should know, the power requirements for this pulse will be catastrophic. Every electrical system within the network will be destroyed, including our life support systems." Blackwood nodded grimly. "We always knew this was a one-way mission, Doctor. Begin the countdown." As the synchronized clocks at each facility ticked down from 60 seconds, Varangian sensors finally detected the power surge building within the true resonance network. Vexar ordered immediate strikes against these locations, but it was too late. The pulse generators were already approaching critical output. "All personnel, brace for pulse," Blackwood ordered. Throughout the remaining facilities, scientists and soldiers alike secured themselves for what might be humanity's final act of defiance. The pulse fired. A cascading wave of precisely calibrated electromagnetic energy surged outward from 7 points around the globe, amplified by Earth's own geomagnetic field. The wave was invisible to human eyes, but devastating to Varangian technology. Aboard his flagship, Vexar watched in horror as systems failed catastrophically. The quantum resonance fields sustaining their vessels collapsed. Exotic matter containment failed. Across his viewscreen, Varangian ships began to rupture, their biomechanical structures losing cohesion at the molecular level. "Impossible," he whispered again, as his own flagship began to disintegrate around him. "They're primitives. Pre-stellar. They cannot." His words died as his command deck dissolved into constituent atoms. Throughout Earth's atmosphere, Varangian vessels shattered like glass sculptures struck by sonic waves. Some exploded spectacularly, while others simply came apart, raining debris across the landscapes they had so recently devastated. In the Mariana facility, backup power systems struggled to maintain minimal life support as the main generators burned out completely. Commander Blackwood, illuminated only by emergency lighting, turned to her companions. "Status report. Did it work?" Dr. Kaminsky checked the rudimentary sensors still functioning. Varangian energy signatures. Gone. All of them. "Commander, I think we actually did it." A ragged cheer went up from the assembled personnel, quickly tempered by the reality of their situation. The pulse had indeed destroyed nearly all remaining technology on the planet. Communications were non-existent. Power grids had collapsed. Even basic electronics had been fried beyond repair. Rebuilding would take decades, perhaps centuries. Billions had died. Cities lay in ruins. The planet's ecosystems had been damaged by Varangian harvesting. But humanity had survived. Against overwhelming odds, against an enemy with vastly superior technology, humans had found a way. 3 months later, Commander Blackwood stood on a hillside overlooking what had once been San Francisco. New settlements were emerging among the ruins. People were adapting, innovating, finding ways to survive in a post-technological world. In the distance, teams worked to salvage usable materials from a downed Varangian vessel. "We'll reverse engineer what we can," Dr. Kapoor explained, joining her on the hillside. "Learn from their technology. Understand how it works." "And if they come back?" Blackwood asked. "If there are more of them out there?" Kapoor smiled grimly. "Then they'll find a humanity that's no longer pre-stellar, a humanity that knows how to fight back." As the sun set over the altered landscape, Blackwood considered how the invasion had transformed not just Earth, but humanity itself. United by existential threat, forced to innovate beyond known science, humans had discovered capacities they never knew they possessed. The Varangians had come expecting an easy conquest. They had departed in atoms and dust. And humanity, bloody but unbowed, now looked to the stars not with fear, but with determination. The next visitors from beyond Earth would find a very different welcome waiting for them. The age of human innocence had ended. The age of human resilience had just begun.